I never thought I'd admit this out loud, even to myself, but there's something about slipping into a different version of me that feels freeing. It's not just about clothes or makeup. It's about stepping into a world where I can be someone entirely new, someone softer, someone beautiful, someone I sometimes wish I could be all the time. My name is Alex, and by day, I'm just a regular guy working in a corporate office, sitting behind a desk, staring at spreadsheets, pretending everything is normal. But when I get home, when the door clicks behind me and the apartment falls silent, my secret life begins. I've been cross-dressing for a few years now, not constantly, but often enough that it's become a quiet obsession, a way to explore a side of me that no one at work, and not even my girlfriend Isabella, fully understands. Isabella is amazing in every way. She's kind, smart, and funny, but she doesn't know about this part of me yet, and the thought of her finding out fills me with both dread and excitement. It's a delicate balance, wanting to be honest, yet fearing judgment or rejection. Every day, I'm walking that tightrope between the life I show the world and the one I secretly crave. Tonight, though, something is different. I've been saving up, doing research, scrolling endlessly through websites, reading reviews, and comparing colors and styles. Tonight, I'm finally taking the plunge. I'm ordering my first high-quality wig, the crown jewel of my cross-dressing transformation. This isn't just a piece of synthetic hair. It's a gateway, a way to fully embrace the persona I keep locked away in my closet. I know that once it arrives, it will be more than just an accessory. It will be a symbol, a tangible step into a new version of myself, and maybe even a test of how far I'm willing to go. I live in a modest apartment on the outskirts of the city, a quiet space where I can indulge in my secret without interruption. The walls are lined with books and a few framed photographs of happier, carefree times. The living room smells faintly of coffee and the faint hint of Isabella's perfume, lingering from earlier today when she left for her evening shift at the hospital. I glance at her side of the bed. It's neatly made, the little personal touches she leaves behind a reminder of how much I care about her, even as I navigate a world she doesn't yet know exists. There's always a thrill when I sit down at my laptop, the glow of the screen illuminating my face as I browse wig collections. Colors that feel daring, lengths that feel luxurious, textures that promise a new identity. I hesitate over a soft auburn bob, imagining how it would frame my face, soften my jawline, and make me feel more me. The thought makes my stomach flutter, a mix of nervousness and exhilaration. I'm not just buying hair. I'm buying a dream, a chance to explore femininity in a way I've never done before. Yet even in these moments, the anxiety gnaws at me. What if Isabella walked in while I was trying it on? What if the delivery person showed up unexpectedly? Every scenario plays in my head like a suspenseful thriller, and my pulse quickens just thinking about it. That tension, that delicate, intoxicating mix of fear and anticipation, is part of why this secret is so addictive. It's my private rebellion, a thrill that's entirely my own. As I navigate the online store, I find myself reading customer reviews obsessively, watching unboxing videos, and studying every detail. Some reviewers rave about the softness of the fibers, the natural movement, the lifelike hairline. Others warn about tangling, the difficulty of washing, the challenge of styling. I absorb everything, weighing practicality against desire, rationality against longing. My fingers hover over the Add to Cart button. My heart pounds. I think about the nights I've spent in front of my mirror, experimenting with makeup, practicing subtle contouring, learning to line my eyes just right, and blending colors until they look natural. I think about the first time I slipped into a skirt and felt a shiver of excitement run through me, the sudden awareness of curves where there were none, the thrill of becoming someone else entirely. The wig feels like the missing piece, the final layer that will allow me to step fully into this persona without hesitation. And yet, a whisper of doubt creeps in. Isabella is wonderful, but she's also deeply intuitive. What if she notices changes in my behavior or my moods? What if she starts asking questions I'm not ready to answer? The fear of exposure is always there, lurking beneath the excitement, reminding me that what I'm doing is risky. That's the paradox of this life. The closer I get to authenticity, the greater the stakes become. I take a deep breath, reminding myself why I'm doing this. This isn't about deception or shame. It's about self-expression, about exploring an essential part of my identity that has long been hidden. It's about discovering joy, beauty, and confidence in ways I never thought possible. The wig, the hair, the transformation, they are tools, yes, but also symbols of courage, a first step toward embracing the full spectrum of who I am. With trembling fingers, I finally click order. The confirmation pops up on my screen, and I feel a rush of triumph mixed with nerves. The wait begins, and with it, a flood of anticipation, fantasy, and planning. I start imagining how I'll style it, the outfits I'll pair it with, the mirror reflections that will feel so strange and yet so familiar. I imagine Isabella noticing subtle changes, perhaps in ways I can't predict. The thought sends a shiver down my spine, equal parts fear and longing. For now, though, I sit back in my chair, heart still racing, staring at the confirmation page. The wig is on its way, and with it, the next chapter of my secret life begins. Tonight, I will dream, plan, and prepare. And when it arrives, I'll have to decide, how far am I willing to go to fully embrace this hidden part of me? Little did I know, that journey would not only challenge my identity, but would also test the boundaries of trust, desire, and vulnerability in ways I never imagined. The line between who I am and who I want to be was about to blur, and the suspense of what comes next was already pulling me in. The day the wig was supposed to arrive, I could hardly focus on anything else. Every email notification, every faint sound outside my apartment, made my heart leap. I told myself it was just nerves, but really, it was anticipation mixed with fear, the kind of fear that makes your palms sweat and your mind race. I spent the morning pacing my apartment, checking my email obsessively, imagining the box arriving at my door. Would it look like the picture? Would it feel real when I touched it? And, most importantly, would it change me? I started by preparing my space. My living room became a shrine of sorts, organized meticulously for the transformation I had planned. Mirrors were angled just right to catch every reflection, ensuring that when I tried the wig, I could see every subtle change. I lined up my makeup, brushes, and skincare products on the table, each item representing a small step into femininity. Even my choice of lighting mattered. The warm glow from the floor lamp would accentuate the softness of the hair, the warmth in my skin, and the subtle contours of my face. As I waited, I began planning my outfit. I had a few favorites, pieces I'd worn before during my private sessions, but tonight I wanted something special. Something that made me feel fully transformed. I sifted through skirts, blouses, tights, and shoes, considering the textures, colors, and how they would work with the wig. The thought of slipping into high heels made my legs tense and my stomach flutter, part nervousness, part thrill. The transformation wasn't just about appearance, it was about how I would feel in the body I was about to inhabit. Time crawled. Every knock at the door, every ring of my phone, made my pulse race. I imagined it could be Isabella, coming home early, or the delivery person arriving ahead of schedule. The suspense was almost unbearable. My secret life, my hidden joy, hung by a delicate thread. One wrong moment, and everything could shatter. And yet, that very fragility made it exhilarating. There was a strange beauty in the risk, a thrill in walking that tightrope between secrecy and expression. During the wait, I found myself reflecting on my relationship with Isabella. She was kind, understanding, and loving, but she didn't know this side of me. Would she understand if she found out? Or would it create distance between us? The thought twisted inside me, blending longing with anxiety. Every decision I made, every secret kept, felt like a gamble with the future of our relationship. And yet, I couldn't stop myself. The desire to explore this identity, to feel fully feminine, was stronger than the fear. When the doorbell finally rang, my heart nearly stopped. I tiptoed to the door, my hands trembling as I signed for the package. It was heavier than I expected, wrapped neatly in plain brown packaging. Inside, the wig sat like a treasure, carefully packed to maintain its shape. I ran my fingers through it, feeling the softness, marveling at the way the strands shimmered under my lamp. It was perfect, exactly what I had imagined. And suddenly, the room seemed smaller, the air thicker, as if it too were waiting for what was about to happen. I brought the wig over to the mirror, gently adjusting it over my head. The first moment it touched my skin, I felt a shiver run down my spine. I looked at my reflection, and for a brief instant, I didn't recognize myself. The face staring back was softer, the features framed in a way that felt foreign and thrilling. My heart raced as I adjusted the wig, perfecting the part, smoothing the strands, and stepping back to take in the full effect. This wasn't just a costume. It was a transformation, a chance to inhabit a different self. Next came the makeup. Each brushstroke felt like a ritual, each layer of foundation, contour, and eyeshadow transforming me further. I traced the curve of my cheekbones, blended shadows over my eyelids, lined my eyes carefully, and applied lipstick with precision. Every step heightened the tension inside me, mixing excitement with vulnerability. I wasn't just changing my appearance. I was stepping into an identity I had longed to explore, yet feared exposing. Then came the clothes. I selected a soft blouse and a skirt that flared just above my knees, slipping into tights and finishing with my favorite heels. Every piece was deliberate, chosen to complete the illusion, yet as I looked at myself in the mirror, I realized the transformation wasn't only external. There was an emotional shift too, a deep sense of confidence, tinged with vulnerability. I felt exposed and powerful all at once, as if the reflection staring back was both me and someone entirely new. As I admired myself, a small noise outside made me freeze. The sound of footsteps, or perhaps just the wind, made my pulse spike. What if Isabella came home early? What if the delivery person came back? The suspense tightened around me like a vice. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. This duality, pleasure and fear intertwined, was the essence of my secret world. Every moment in this persona was charged with an intensity one couldn't find anywhere else. I practiced my movements, the way I walked in heels, how I shifted my weight, how I held my head. Every gesture was a performance, but it felt real. My reflection in the mirror became a companion, a confidant, someone who understood the complexity of desire and fear intertwined. I even experimented with my voice, softening my tone, testing the boundaries of who I could be. In that quiet apartment, I existed fully, completely, even if only for a few fleeting hours. But beneath the excitement, the suspense lingered. There was always the threat of exposure, the lingering anxiety that Isabella might somehow notice the subtle changes in my behavior or appearance. That tension made the moment sweeter, more intoxicating. Each step in the transformation, wig, makeup, outfit, was a gamble, a risk, and a thrill. The more complete the transformation became, the higher the stakes felt. And I loved it. By the time I was fully transformed, the night had deepened, shadows stretching across the room. I stood in front of the mirror, heart racing, cheeks flushed, the wig perfectly in place, clothes and makeup completing the illusion. I was both Alex and someone else entirely, a fusion of identities, emotions, and desires. And yet, the suspense remained, a quiet reminder that my secret world was fragile, and any misstep could unravel everything. In that moment, I realized the true power of this experience wasn't just the physical transformation, it was the emotional one. The thrill, the fear, the exhilaration, the vulnerability, they were all part of a journey that demanded courage. And as I looked at my reflection, I knew that the next step, the first public test of this persona, or perhaps the unexpected arrival of someone who could see me, was looming. The suspense was far from over. The longer I stared at my reflection, the more surreal it felt. The wig was flawless, cascading down in soft waves that framed my face in ways I had only dreamed about. The blouse clung to my shoulders in just the right way, the skirt swaying gently as I shifted my weight, and the heels added an elegance that made even simple movements feel deliberate, almost hypnotic. Every detail mattered: the tilt of my head, the flicker of my eyes, the faint curve of a smile, And yet beneath it all, there was that persistent knot of fear, reminding me that this identity was still fragile, still secret. I couldn't stop touching the wig, adjusting strands, brushing through tangles, imagining how it would move in real life, in public, under the scrutiny of others. My fingers lingered on the hairline, tracing the gentle arcs where synthetic strands met my skin, and for a moment, I almost forgot that I was Alex, a man with a secret. In the mirror, I saw someone entirely new, someone confident, soft, feminine, and undeniably alive. And yet, a whisper of doubt lingered at the edge of my mind. What if Isabella walked in now? Would she understand, or would she be horrified? I tried to push the thought away, focusing instead on the ritual I had built around this transformation. Makeup was next, and I approached it as though I were performing a delicate spell. Foundation smoothed the lines of my jaw, contour softened the harsh angles, and eyeshadow added depth and dimension to eyes that I'd always thought were ordinary. Every layer felt like peeling back the old me and revealing the version of me I had longed to be. When I carefully lined my lips and added a touch of color, I nearly gasped. The person staring back at me in the mirror didn't look like a man pretending. This felt real, authentic, exhilarating. But as the minutes passed, the thrill became a double-edged sword. Every shadow in the room seemed to deepen the suspense. The faint creak of the floorboards, the hum of the refrigerator, even the distant sound of a car driving by, each noise threatened to pull me back to reality, to remind me of how exposed I really was. My heart beat faster, palms damp with sweat. I was alone, yes, but the apartment suddenly felt too small, the air too thin. What if Isabella called, unexpectedly? What if a neighbor knocked on the door? The very secrecy that made this transformation intoxicating also made it unbearably tense. I tried to focus on the joy, the sheer beauty of the moment. I twirled in the skirt, feeling it flare around my legs, the soft fabric brushing against my skin. I adjusted the wig again, smiling faintly at the reflection that seemed to smile back at me, as if acknowledging the courage it had taken to reach this point. High heels clicked against the floor, each step a small victory in reclaiming a sense of femininity I had kept hidden for so long. And yet, the internal conflict never fully disappeared. Part of me longed to stay in this moment forever, while another part whispered warnings. You can't let anyone see you like this. Not yet. I sat on the edge of the couch, wig cascading over my shoulders, and ran my hands along my legs, feeling the smoothness of tights against my skin. I closed my eyes and imagined what it would feel like to walk outside like this, even if just briefly. The thought sent a shiver down my spine. Public exposure, even in a safe space, seemed thrilling and terrifying at the same time. Every instinct screamed caution, but the desire to embrace this persona was louder. It was a delicate dance between fear and longing, a tightrope I had walked many times, yet never so completely transformed. Then, almost imperceptibly, a sound made me freeze. The faintest tap, someone knocking maybe? My pulse skyrocketed. I strained to hear, trying to determine if it was real or just a trick of my imagination. The suspense was suffocating. Every muscle tensed, every nerve on edge. My reflection stared back at me, the perfect image of feminine beauty, yet the tension in my body betrayed the truth. I was still Alex, vulnerable, exposed, and at the mercy of circumstance. I realized then that the wig wasn't just a prop, it was a symbol. It represented both freedom and risk, desire and danger. If it slipped, if a strand fell out of place, it would expose me instantly. I touched it gently, as if reassuring it, and myself, that everything would be okay. But the knot of anxiety in my stomach persisted, a constant reminder that my secret world was delicate, fragile, and intoxicating all at once. Despite the fear, I couldn't stop experimenting. I tried different hairstyles, half-updos, side parts, and braids, each change altering the person I saw in the mirror. Each adjustment was a small act of control, a way to own this identity, even if only for a few fleeting hours. I tried new makeup techniques, subtle eyeliner variations, even playful lipstick shades. Every step deepened the transformation, Yet every reflection reminded me of the stakes. The thrill was inseparable from the risk, the excitement inseparable from the fear. I thought about Isabella again, imagining her walking through the door and seeing me like this. The thought made my heart ache and race simultaneously. Would she be confused? Curious? Judgmental? Or might she surprise me with acceptance, a gentle smile that made all this secrecy worth it? The uncertainty was maddening, but also part of the thrill. It pushed me to explore further, to take risks in the privacy of my apartment, knowing that every shadow, every noise, could reveal the secret I guarded so closely. Hours passed in a blur of self-discovery. I moved in front of mirrors, testing my posture, my gestures, the tilt of my head. I practiced a soft laugh, a gentle tilt of the shoulders, even a quiet, feminine way of walking across the room. Each movement felt strange and exhilarating, a reminder that transformation was more than skin deep. It was identity in motion, a dance between who I had always been and who I could be. Yet the suspense never fully abated. Every knock, every creak, every distant sound reminded me that my secret world could unravel in an instant. The thrill was addictive, but it was also exhausting. By the time I finally sat down on the couch, wig perfectly in place, makeup flawless, outfit complete, I felt both triumphant and drained. I had stepped fully into this persona, experienced the full spectrum of desire, fear, and excitement. But the lingering question remained: how long could this secret survive before the world intruded? And as I sat there, catching my breath, I realized the truth. The most intense part of this journey hadn't even begun. The real test, the moment when fear, desire, and exposure collided, was still ahead. The anticipation, the suspense, the thrill of transformation, they were all leading to a moment that would challenge everything I thought I knew about myself.